I've had a few questions about how to properly use the fillet tool, so I will walk through that right now. I will start with just a couple of polylines, so let me get rid of this here. If I enter the polyline command and I make, let's start with just a couple of straight lines. So I'll turn ortho on and make a right angle polyline. And then I want to add a radius curve onto this right angle line, and I do that by going into the fillet tool and I click on it, and now my cursor is telling me select first object or, and if I look down here at my command line, first object or undo polyline radius trim multiple. Well, I want to assign a radius, so I can either click on radius with my mouse or simply type R and hit enter. And now it's telling me specify the radius. So I want to put a radius of 5 units onto this corner, and I hit enter, and now it's telling me select first object or. So now I can start picking my objects. And if I pick the first segment and the second segment, notice it's going to put a nice curve on that for me, and that will be a tangential curve or a circular curve. And all I have to do is click on the second segment and it has created a curve for me. And that works if we have two lines that join at really at any angle. So if I do another polyline, this time I'll turn ortho off and I'll make a non-right angle, get rid of this one. So I've got a non-right angle set of lines here, and I can still use that fillet tool. Again, I'll specify a radius, so type R and hit enter. And this time I'm going to put a radius of, let's say, 6 units. So I can type 6 and hit enter. And now I can pick my lines, and it will put a circular curve or a tangential curve in between these two line segments. So that is if you have lines that intersect or lines that touch. What if I have two sets or two individual line segments that do not touch? Well, I can use the fillet tool to first extend these two lines until they would meet and trim them away. So if I go into the fillet tool and I'll specify a radius, so type R, and I want a radius of 0. Okay, that means I want a hard intersection between those two line segments. And so I type 0 and hit enter for a radius. Now I can select my two objects, and look at what it does. It automatically extends those two lines to the point they would intersect and then trim them away. So that's great for making non-joining line segments intersect. That's a handy tool. I could do the same thing with two line segments that do not intersect. If I want to add a curve in between those two lines. So again, I'm going to select radius, specify a radius, and this time I'll put a radius of 5 on here. So 5 and enter, and then select my two line segments. And you can see it automatically extends the lines to the point where extends or trims them back to the point where it can put a circular curve of a specified radius in between. So I just click, and I've filleted a radius in between these two line segments.